Got a visitor to our campsite tonight, or at least to where my car's parked. Curiously bushy tail at the end, too.
You got enough light?
You smell something you like there, little buddy? He's hungry. He's clearly played this game before. Wish us luck as we try to keep this mouse out of our food. Yeah, it sure is nice being in a spot that's, what, 30 degrees warmer?
Man,
than the,
what a difference.
Yeah, right? It was definitely worth the, what, 5-hour drive?
Yeah, I didn't hesitate to get out of my tent to pee last night. It was like, okay, no problem.
Yeah, today's December 13th, so it would have been, I guess, the evening of the 11th into the 12th, where we, yeah, camped pretty close to Fifth Water Springs.
Mm-hmm.
And it got down to 15 degrees. I was impressed at your ability to tent it in that temperature while I was in my car.
Yeah. I have to, you know, credit to the 0-degree sleeping bag, complete with, you know, the liner, which I guess adds a little bit of insulation. But I definitely had all of my clothes and my jacket on all night, and while I never really felt cold, I wasn't comfortable.
Yeah.
Because it was like I'm definitely not getting out of this sleeping bag if I don't have to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was actually, even inside of my car, I was double bundled. I had like a that's a goose down bag inside of a synthetic bag, kind of double layered there, and even then it was still
luxurious.
I mean, my body was warm, but it was definitely on the bits of my face that were exposed, I was feeling it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like all of my breath like condensed and froze on like the inside of the tent and like around the opening in the sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Was like kind of damp from the moisture condensing and freezing and thawing. And when I got up to break down my gear, just like there was ice on everything. Like my sleeping pad, somehow like moisture had collected between the bottom of my sleeping pad and the floor of the tent.
You mentioned that.
Even though I set the tent up on a tarp, so I guess it was, like moisture from my body that, like settled to the ground. I guess I don't know. But anyway, of course, as soon as I took the sleeping pad out of the tent, it froze. All the moisture on that froze. The moisture on the bottom of the tent froze.
Yeah.
I was able to shake most of the ice crystals off of the rain fly in the body of the tent.
Yeah, sometimes you can kind of brush it off, right? If you have a towel or something.
Yeah.
Or a glove.
And so consequently, when I pulled everything out to set up last night here in the desert of Nevada, it was all kind of wet.
Did it dry out pretty quick though?
It did, yeah. I mean, with
fantastic.
the breeze and the warmer temperature and the super dry air, not bad.
I reckon that had something to do with just the topography of where we were at, kind of being down in a valley there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it would have been less moisture accumulating if we were not down in a, how like a low spot will get more dew in the morning too.
Yeah, and also the colder temperatures. I can't believe the timing was that perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That right when I pull up, there you are.
I literally, yeah. I mean, I was just sitting here thinking, I wonder how long I'll have to wait. She's already here.
Yeah, I was ready to like get out my, my mat and like read a book or something on the rock.
Wow, that was perfect.
Yeah, I did actually. Mind if I roll up the window?
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I did actually take the scenic route. I can show you on my GPS track.
Okay.
If you want. But
scenic route, all right. Well, maybe that would explain why I missed you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I was maybe, I don't know, half mile or a mile south of the junction between the White Dome Loop and, the main trail.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I thought was pretty well marked. It said it was not marked.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's like, apparently somebody decided it was a good idea to mark it, which I don't have a problem with.
Yeah.
I find it helpful at times.
Yeah, so I looked to the right at one point, and I saw a canyon that had a rock. Well, the canyon had a rock that was striped, like pink, or like pink, purple, and yellow or something. I'm like, oh, that's a good sign. I'll go pursue that, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I went off trail, and basically like those canyons that were off to the left of the main road, you know, not the big red wall, you know, but the opposite side.
Okay.
Of, I guess, what was kind of the main wash, right, where the trail went.
Yeah, right, where those like really very colorful, like stripy rocks were. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
The yellows and the pinks and. Yeah.
Yeah, I went up in there and then just kind of did a, I guess a traverse, you might call it. That kind of maybe paralleled the main trail, just going, you know, in the same direction.
I gotcha. Well, that would explain how I missed you, because I left the trail at one point and I climbed up on this big, like, sandstone dome. It was kind of like a big, you know, it had like a real gradual kind of slope on one side and like this sort of like yellow, whitish yellow cap on it.
Yeah.
Kind of like a nipple. And yeah, so I climbed up on that, and I couldn't get on top of the little nipple, but I was just below it, so maybe 20 feet from the top of that thing, and I could see the wash, you know, back the way I came for half a mile.
Yeah,
and so I was like, well, it would be funny if I saw Amos walk by while I was sitting up here, which I didn't, and eventually I climbed back down, and I started, you know, continued on my merry way, and then at some point there was like a Y, where there was a cairn up, you know, to the right, where you know, people had like gone up, and there was like, you know, the wash kind of like narrowed down, and there was like a, you know, some kind of shrub hanging over it, so you kind of had to go around it or under it if you wanted to keep going. And I was like, there's a cairn, I wonder why.
Oh, and did you pursue it?
Well, I pulled out the map that I had taken a picture of, and you know, it said on there that at like 4.4 miles the trail leaves the wash, it goes up over and down into the next wash.
Oh yeah, there is a spot like that.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I took I followed the cairn route, and that's where I started seeing your footprints.
Okay.
Interestingly enough.
I did,
but it didn't seem like it really switched washes. It seemed like I ended up just coming down into the same wash I had been in.
But there was like a choke point, right? That would have been hard to get around.
Maybe there was. I didn't go back and investigate.
At the very end, like once it got onto the road for me, here comes the camera crew that we saw earlier. Yeah.
But after I dropped you off, I got stopped where we passed that police car. And like they made me wait like 5 or 10 minutes, and I saw them. They were filming a Honda Passport commercial.
Indeed. Yeah, I waved to the driver as I went past, because they asked me when I walked by, "Is that your Subaru there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Oh, great. Can you move it for us? Well, first the guy was like, "Oh, could you hold on for a sec while we're filming this thing?" And then the other guy, who was, I guess, the boss, was like, "No, let's have him move it. Then we won't have to paint it out like later on, you know, like digitally or whatever." I was the last one through, and then the cop sort of, you know, waiting for me, kind of let me through, and then blocked off traffic for a bit at the other trailhead. So just as well that we weren't like planning to meet at that trailhead, you know.
Yeah.
Because that would have been like, you know.
Problem.
Yeah. Because I could see where they had been filming. I mean, they kept like rallying onto that road, like off of the main road. So it would have been like layer after layer of dust on whoever was waiting.
Yeah.
You know.
Leaving the pavement, so to speak.
Yeah, because the crane, you know, like the camera crane truck would like be approaching as the
Russian arm. That's what the guy told me it was called.
Oh yeah. Much to my dismay, my LL Cool Bean will not be in the Honda commercial.
Oh well.
I'm kind of curious to see what that commercial is going to look like now, because they were setting up like some mud so they could film the Honda like driving through some mud, you know, like it's some rugged beast of a vehicle.
Where they just have like a truck with a tank on it.
Yeah.
Like spraying on some water.
Yeah, they were moistening some sand.
Interesting.
Yep, this guy seemed to know right where to go. It looks like it's a bull from this viewpoint. Or a ram, rather.
Is that what a ram is?
Yeah.
Is a male bighorn?
Or a male sheep, yeah.
How do they make it to 46 years old without knowing that? It's incredible.
And then I believe the female is an ewe, E-W-E.
Yeah.
Very handy Scrabble word.
Yes, I did know that. I've used that whole Scrabble word. Neat.
You get any good pictures?
Yeah, I took some. I don't know. I haven't really checked them out, but I think I got some pretty good pictures and took some video.
Nice. Yeah, I'll be curious to see that.
You're filming me.
Yeah, right.
That's funny.
Yeah, right where I joined back with the trail is where I stopped to have some lunch for a while. You're kind of hoping that you hadn't passed there yet, but pretty sure you had, because I got a little further up the trail than I saw the Lone Peak 3 prints, you know, that were probably yours.
Yeah, pretty distinctive. Hard to miss.
Well, I thought that worked pretty well, though, the reverse tandem.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, the timing couldn't have been better.
That's a great system. We should, do a long trail that way sometime. Like
Yeah.
some section hiking.
Yeah, this is a nice little trial,
Maybe on the PCT or on the AT
or something, yeah.
Anything. It's a good way to do a shuttle with one vehicle.
Yeah.
If you're section hiking. I wonder if we go back and look, you'll see my eyes get wide all of a sudden.